Hello everybody, today we are going to make black and white checkered finish line racing cars flag. Inflate black and white balloons leaving about 8, maybe 9 inch flat tails. For this sculpture we are going to twist all bubbles soft and we will make them of the same size, about 1, maybe 1.5 inch long. Let's twist the first 2 bubbles and then we'll lock all ends of the first 2 bubbles in one lock twist. In previously published instructions, we use different fabric to make different kind of flags. As you will see in this example, we will take different approach to make fabric for the flag. Let's squeeze the balloon to make about 2 inch flat space between the first 2 bubbles and the rest of the balloon. I hold 3 my fingers between the first 2 bubbles and the rest of the balloon. Twist the next 2 bubbles. Lock all ends of the last 2 bubbles in one lock twist. You have to hold your fingers between the first pair of bubbles and the second pair of bubbles. This way you preserve the flat space between 2 pairs of bubbles. We are going to work the rest of the sculpture in the same way, making flat space between pairs of bubbles. I'm going to use this balloon to make total of 12 bubbles or 6 pairs of bubbles. Here you can see my left hand, the pinky, ring and middle fingers I keep between rest of the balloon and the previous pair of bubbles. Make the new bubbles and then lock all ends of the last 2 bubbles in one lock twist. In this example I'm going to use total of 4 balloons, 2 white and 2 black balloons. We are going to make a rectangular shaped piece of fabric with sides 4 by 6 bubbles. Working in this fashion we can make the smallest flag using just 2 balloons, 1 white and 1 black balloon. It could be rectangular shape with sides 2 by 4 bubbles. So basically if you want to make very small checkered flag, then you can stop right after you made 4 pairs of white bubbles. And then just make 4 pairs of black bubbles. Meantime I'm going to make 6 pairs of bubbles using this balloon. Oh yes, also I want to say thanks to YouTube username, let me spell it, GBKNIPIFY, pardon my English. I want to say thank you for the comment where you mentioned the checkered flag. It was, well, a good puzzle to figure out how to make this kind of flag. I got really good time trying to find ways to make it. And now my little kid can actually use this flag in his games. And of course I want to thank everyone who is watching my videos. Thank you for your time, thank you for your comments, and thanks for your questions. I really appreciate it. Your comments and questions help me to stay focused on balloon twisting and on FeWDoIt project. I don't stay online as much as I used to. Nevertheless, I read all your comments and I always try to answer your questions as soon as I can. Alright, let's get back to our sculpture. Here we finished twisting 6 pairs of bubbles. If you stretch the balloon slightly, then you will see the spare space between pairs of bubbles that we have made. Let's cut off the rest of the balloon, we don't need it. You can tear it off with your hands or use scissors. Tie off the end and hide it between bubbles. We are going to use the spare space between pairs of bubbles to connect different balloons to each other. And we are going to connect balloons following colored checker pattern. Alright, let's fix all bubbles pointing in the same direction across the long side. Later we are going to change the directions. As I said before, we're going to use in this example 2 white and 2 black balloons, total of 4 balloons. We use each balloon to make 6 pairs of bubbles. Now we're going to connect balloons to each other. In this example I will start from the top left corner of the flag. At this corner I place the first black pair of bubbles. Directly under it I put a pair of first white bubbles. We connect balloons to each other by interlacing the flat spare space between pairs of bubbles. The second white pair of bubbles goes on the top of the flag. Now we have to attach the second black balloon. It goes to the bottom row. Interlace the spare space between nearest 2 pairs of bubbles. At the very beginning it may seem a bit hard to interlace balloons, Especially it's hard if you have left not enough spare space between pairs of bubbles. Nevertheless, once you get your hands on this, you will be just fine. When we interlace balloons with each other using spare space, we make kind of a lock. The lock doesn't have to be exactly at the center of the spare flat space. It seems that I'm making all locks slightly to the left side of the spare flat space, closer to the first column of bubbles. Okay, we have attached the first 4 pairs of bubbles. The first column, starting from the top, goes by color: black, white, black, white. And I already put all 4 balloons in the order for the second column. The second column, starting from the top, goes by color: white, black, white, black. Of course, it is much easier and faster to connect just 2 balloons to each other, working in this fashion. Well, anyway, let's work the hard way. We have to make the second column. Now we're connecting balloons using the spare flat space between the second and the third pairs of bubbles. Always make sure to follow the checkered color pattern. Once again, in the first column we made it starting from the top: black, white, black, white. And the second column, starting from the top: white, black, white, black. The third column we're going to make in the same order, color order as we made the first column: black, white, black, white. Don't waste much of your time fixing bubbles at this moment. We're gonna do it later. As I already mentioned previously, it is much easier to connect just 2 balloons to each other than do the same with 3 or more balloons. Using just 2 balloons, we can make the smallest checkered color pattern flag. It could be as small as rectangular shape with sides 2 by 4 bubbles. And we can make much larger size sculptures by connecting balloons in the same way as we're doing it now. Also, we can make it a bit faster, I think. Just make necessary amount of sets of 2 balloons, black and white, in each set. And then we can use flat balloons to connect the sets to each other. Perhaps it is the fastest way, but I never tried it in real life, so I leave it up to you to check it out. Also, there is something else I want to say about the size and proportions. According to Wikipedia Racing Cars Flags page, there is no certain definition of what size should be the flags. And therefore we could make it of any size, any proportions. Beautiful. Just make sure to make it checkered color pattern, that's all. In this example we are making rectangular shape piece of fabric, but as you already know, the shape is up to you. You could make it square, rectangular, diamond, or any other shapes. And it looks like we're getting closer to the finish line. Now it is time to fix all bubbles in proper positions. This size bubbles have some kind of oval shape. I'm trying to fix all bubbles pointing in the same direction. It would be the lengthwise direction. The long side of each bubble goes the same way as the long side of our rectangle. If you want, you can turn it in different direction along short side of our rectangle. However, keep in mind it will change the proportions of the flag. At the very end of this instruction, I want to make the smallest checkered flag. Then you will see how the direction in which the bubbles pointed affects the proportions of the flag. Alright, basically we have made the flag. Our flag has 2 sides. Both sides of our flag looks exactly the same. The rectangle has 4 by 6 size. There are 24 pairs or 48 bubbles. Very simple checkered color pattern. With all simplicity, it was hard to figure out how to make it using balloons. I hope you will find a lot of use for this color pattern and enjoy it. Also, you can use any colors to make this color pattern. And now I'm using scissors to cut the flag on 2 parts. I want to make one part with sides 2 by 4 bubbles, and the larger part will be with sides 4 by 4 bubbles. Now let's fix all bubbles in proper positions. Now you could see the difference in proportions of the flag. The part with sides 2 by 4 bubbles in this example is the smallest flag. We can make it using just 2 balloons, as you can see. Long side of each bubble goes in the same direction as the short side of the rectangle in that example. And this is an example with sides 4x4 bubbles. It does sound as we made a square, though it is not a square. The bubbles have an oval shape, so it makes it a rectangular shape. I don't have time to try different shapes. That's a finish line. Have fun and happy twisting.